What's up, guys? Happy 2020. I've seen several requests for me to compare and contrast all the various dating apps out there. And in this video, I'm gonna do just that. See? Listen. I'm gonna start off by telling you what I think are the big three dating apps. These are the ones that I recommend to friends and personally use at this point. I consider most of the other ones just a waste of time. And then go down the list and give you the real scoop on all the other ones, telling you what I honestly think about each. Enjoy. All right, so what are these three dating apps that I personally use? First, we have Tinder. Now, I know a lot of guys reminisce about the good old days and say that it's not as good as it used to be. And I do agree with that, but it's still pretty solid if you know what you're doing. Fact of the matter is that I just can consistently get results on Tinder. And I think that if you go outside the US and Canada and you go to something like South America and Southeast Asia or Eastern Europe, Tinder goes from being pretty solid to being really fucking awesome. Second place goes to Bumble. I like this app because the average quality of women on there is higher. I think that out of all the dating apps, Bumble has the hottest girls if you don't take something like Seeking Arrangement or Instagram into account. And so I find that I get less matches on there, but the matches that I do get are more attractive. And I've just also consistently had a lot of good success on Bumble. And third place goes to Hinge. I like this app because it's a nice little crossover between a dating app and a dating website. You know, what's the thing that sucks about most dating websites other than the fact that most of the girls are not attractive? It's the fact that you have to fill out a million questions before you can get on. But with Hinge, you only have to fill out 3 questions. And if you're smart, you can strategically use these questions to sexualize and screen before the conversation even begins. And I've also had a pretty solid amount of success on Hinge. Now, the only downside about it is that it's not gonna be big in like South America or Southeast Asia. You know, it's mostly like a American or Canadian or Western European thing. So these are really it. These are the 3 dating apps that I personally use and I tell all my friends to use. I find that most of the other ones are a waste of time and just redundant because I think that if you take like 1,000 hot girls that are on online dating, 998 of them are gonna be on one of the 3 that I just mentioned. Next, let's take a look at some of the other dating apps out there. Now, this list is not gonna be completely exhaustive just because there's always these little niche apps that are popping up and it would take several lifetimes for me to test them all, but I am gonna try to cover the more popular ones, the ones that you guys are probably curious about. And of course, if I miss anything, just let me know in the comments below and I'll give you my 2 cents as always. So first we have Plenty of Fish, but I think a better name would be Plenty of Dog Shit. Now, POF, not to be confused with PWF, is great if you're trying to chat with a bot or meet up with a fat chick. If you're trying to meet a cool, normal, attractive girl, then it's gonna be a total waste of time. From what I hear is that it used to be decent like 10, 12 years ago when online dating was first becoming a thing, but it has just been since then been severely outdated, and especially after like Tinder and Bumble came on the scene, it was just, it was just a thing of the past. And you're gonna get like the extreme outliers on there, the runts of the litter, not the girls that you probably wanna meet up with. Think about it this way. A girl who's, freshly single doesn't think, yeah, okay, I'll give online dating a shot. I hear great things about Plenty of Fish. No, they talk about Tinder, Bumble, or Hinge. No one really thinks of Plenty of Fish. So for that reason, hard left swipe. After that, we have OKCupid. So if Plenty of Fish is here, OKCupid is definitely a step above that, but I still generally do not recommend it. And my reason is, first off, it's also severely outdated. The average quality of women on there is just gonna be a lot lower. And it's also gonna be, horrible ratio, like way worse than Tinder and Bumble. It's gonna be like 10 dudes for every chick. Personally, I've met up with a little bit over a dozen of girls from OKCupid and in different cities, some in LA, some in Texas. And consistently the one theme is that they are 7 or below. Now, it's not that I'm trying to go for these somewhat unattractive girls. It's just that on there, pretty much every girl that I met up with, actually, I'm not gonna say pretty, every girl that I met up with was at least somewhat worse than her pics. Now with Tinder, sometimes the girls I meet up with are hot, sometimes they're not, sometimes they're better with than their pics, sometimes they're worse. But with OKCupid, it just seems that every single chick is worse than her pics. That's at least been my personal experience. So another thing I will say is that, yes, it's horribly outdated, but if you're over 40, that might be the exception because, back when, that generation, back when OKCupid was coming out, they were, in their early 20s. So, maybe they got married and now they're single again, some hot MILF is giving OKCupid a shot. But then again, I have older friends and all of them say that Bumble is still a better option. So also left swipe. After that, we have Badoo, which is pretty fucking bad. Two reasons. First of all, it is really, really inactive. So yeah, you're gonna see some hot girls on there, but don't get too excited. Most of them haven't been on in like 2 years. So if you wanna wait like 5 years to get a message back, then yeah, maybe worth checking out. Also, you know, it's just gonna be a lot of bots on there. I've tried it pretty extensively and I've only ever met up with one girl from Badoo and she was crazy as fuck. She was so crazy that I didn't want to fuck her. And you know a chick has to be pretty, you know, pretty nuts for me not to want to, you know, fuck her despite her being hot. So for that reason, also do not recommend it. I do hear that in like South America or Eastern Europe, that's a lot better. But in those places, Tinder is really good. So you don't even really need to bother with any other app. After that, we have Coffee Meets Bagel. So this app is not a total left swipe. I personally met up with several girls from this app and the quality varies all over the place. I do think that the average quality of women on there is lower than Tinder, than Bumble, than Hinge, like noticeably lower. So that's my reason for not really recommending it. But there's one exception. There is a shitload of Asian girls on there. And if that's your thing, if you have yellow fever and you just want to bang Asian girls, then it might actually be a pretty decent option, especially if you live in like New York or SF, a city with a high Asian population. But me, I like my big booty Latinas, so for me, that's gonna be also left swipe. After that, we got Field, which is basically like the Tinder for DTF girls. It sounds pretty fucking awesome. The downside is that it is, you know, there's just not a lot of users on there, and most of the users are couples. And I don't mean like two hot lesbians. I mean like a guy and a girl who are trying to have a threesome. And if that's your thing, great. It might actually be a pretty good option. But you know, me personally, I like to just, you know, bang one girl without a dude watching in the corner beating off. So, you know, there's just not that many, you know, single female users on there. Now, it can be a decent option if you live in a densely packed city, like especially New York or SF. I have personally met up with one girl on there and she was pretty hot. But then again, I also matched with her on Bumble, so I probably could have gotten her just from Bumble. Actually, I know I could have. Also, you know, I had a roommate who had some experiences on there, and you know, the quality of girls he met up on there just ran the gamut. So the Field is not I'm not recommending it, but I'm also not recommending it. I think it could be worth trying out, especially if you live, like I said, in a heavily populated city. You know, you're gonna want to take a different angle on there. You're not gonna want to do so much like DHVs and humor. You more want to go sexual and go for the daddy dom angle. So that app is somewhere in the middle. After that, we have JSwipe. Now, this is definitely, you know, the best one out of all the ones I've mentioned. I like it for several reasons. First of all, it's not a total sausage fest because I think most of the fuck boys either don't know about it or just think that they're not Jewish enough to go on there. I've personally met up with numerous girls on there, had some decent experiences, and even met one of my booty calls on there who I saw for 6 months. Hot, normal, fun girls. So there is a lot of cool, normal girls on there, and also it's not a sausage fest. The downside is it's not going to work if you live in a city that doesn't really have Jewish people. Also, don't feel like you have to be Jewish to use it. There's a lot of girls on there who don't give a shit. They just want to meet a cool, normal guy, and they don't really care about religion. And the way the app is set up, you can very easily, you know, kind of search for that. So after that, we got the Inner Circle. That's the last one I wanted to mention. And I'm going to be honest, I didn't test this app as extensively as other ones, so I can't fully vouch for it. But, you know, when I did go on there, I noticed that the quality of women was higher than Tinder. You know, it was pretty good. It was even higher than JSwipe. It was mostly like a lot of young professional women, and they were pretty active. So it wasn't like Badoo where you had to wait, you know, fucking 2 decades to get a text back. You know, a lot of the girls on there are pretty active. They were responsive. They were attractive. They seemed normal. The downside is small user base. But again, I think it's rapidly growing now, so it's worth checking out. I also don't think it's available in every city. Another thing is also it's not like Tinder or whatever the other apps where you just make a profile. You have to actually be approved. But then again, if a degenerate like me can get on, then I'm sure you guys should be good. So this is kind of like an up and coming app. I can't fully vouch for it just because I haven't tested it as extensively, but you know, it definitely could be worth checking out. Hopefully you guys found this video valuable. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below and I'll try to get back to everyone. And as I always say, make sure you show me some love by smashing the like button, hitting the subscribe button, and clicking the bell for notifications. Once we hit 10,000 subscribers, I'm going to release some exclusive infield of this guy picking up bitches at the dog park, and you definitely don't want to miss that. Thank you for watching, and until next time.